Let's get the reaction of Olufemi Lawson on this matter. Thank you very much for joining us at this point. Now, what is your reaction to this back and forth between the security services company TANTITA Services and Nigerian Navy?
Well, I think this issue, as it is not an issue between TANTITA Security Services and the Nigerian Navy from my own perspective. I think it's an issue that should concern all of us as Nigerians. I think we should be really interested in demanding as Nigerians for a thorough probe of that incident. How has it gotten to a level that those who ordinarily should be in charge of the protection of our national infrastructures and assets are now beginning to become suspect in issues of crude oil theft? And today, one of the fundamental issues confronting us that has resulted to a very serious level of the dwindling of our economy as a nation, the financial capacity of the country, is the amount of money Nigeria is losing daily to the activities of oil thieves. And today, it is becoming so unfortunate that people who ordinarily should be in charge of protection of these oil assets are now being fingered to be involved in the stealing of this crude oil. And this is not the first time that we're experiencing this. And this is not even the first time that this kind of alarm is being raised. Only recently, former militant leader, Chief Asari Dokubo, indicted, the military for the role that a lot of them are playing, some of them rather, are playing in the theft of crude oil. That has not settled down. And this is coming just barely weeks after a similar vessel was also arrested by the same TANTITA, security services. Then it really raises question: why was the Navy so resistant to, allowing the security services that have been contracted by the federal government to do the job that ordinarily Navy and other security agencies should be doing? It is the failure of the Navy and some other security agencies that has led Nigeria into engaging the service of private security firms to supervise and monitor. Now, rather than allowing a transparent process of allowing these security services to check what is on board or whatever the case may be, there was a resistance. Then we should also begin to ask, when did the Navy, like it has been alleged that the crew on that vessel were all naval personnel, when did the Navy become, commercial vessel, operators that they are now being found, not just escorting crude oil vessels, but on, running crude oil vessels in a direction that clearly shows something contrary to what was in the document of that vessel.
So looking at all of you have said, which is quite a huge source of worry, as of course the current administration is not mincing words about stopping crude oil theft. Now, the worry here, like you have said, is the allegation against the Nigerian Navy of conspiracy. How do you think this can be tackled by the government if this is alleged to be true?
Well, the most important thing I think government must do in the immediate is to order a thorough probe into that incident. Now, there are beginning to be two sides of the story. But unfortunately, we've seen TANTITA Security Services coming out with documents in the public showing the contradictions in documents issued by the Petroleum Regulatory Authority, and of course, what was on board that vessel. There has also a report that the vessel was moving in the opposite direction of what was on the document. It's just like an aircraft leaving Lagos Airport, destination Abuja, and the same aircraft is seen flying towards Calabar. It must raise suspicion. But I think the government must, and the president must come into this, must order an immediate probe, not of this particular case alone, but the role of some of these military personnel in the activities of oil, in the oil activities in the Niger Delta.
In ordering, sorry to cut you off, in ordering a probe, to what end? Because a lot of people believe that ordering a probe into some cases might not lead to anything.
This will be different, and I think this president will do things differently. That in the past, people are getting away with all sort of crimes does not mean that it must be a continuous, approach to issues. I believe that ordering a probe must be to the extent that perpetrators of thefts, particularly those who are supposed to be working for government but are working against government by collaborating with oil thieves, must be brought to justice. There must be an open and transparent probe of this incident and some other cases that have been cited in the past, to the extent that we must begin to criminalize perpetrators to the extent that they are prosecuted and as when necessary. So we must go beyond making it, issues of just record bookkeeping. No, there must be practical steps. And I know President Bola Tinubu's commitment towards, revamping the sector and the commitment of the National Security Advisor too, who also intervened in this particular incident, becomes very important this time. And I believe something critical has to be done. There must be a transparent probe, and we should be able to use the opportunity to see clearly the roles that are being played by our security agencies in the Niger Delta.
All right, Olufemi Lawson, Comrade Olufemi Lawson, thank you so much for talking to us on this development. Thank you.
Okay.